Hello, well, it's England, it's mid-November, and worse than that, it's Didcot, and the Potterton Suprima 30 boiler hasn't really been working for much of the day, and the house got really cold. We've had a bit of a problem with this Suprima boiler for a couple of weeks now, and I thought I'd make a short video to go through the fault finding process that we ended up having to adopt because it is actually an intermittent fault. I have to say that I'm not an electrician, I'm certainly not a plumber, but I did spend 5 years maintaining a terrestrial microwave radio relay station, so I know how difficult it is to actually find and rectify intermittent fault, which is what is on this boiler. So we had about 2 weeks ago a problem whereby the boiler started to lock out, and it locked out with a orange light. Now the Potterton boiler itself is really quite complex. It's actually quite compact. You can see that it fits in the cupboard really nicely. It's a very simple boiler. And if I open up this flap here, you can just about see the indication light on there, which is green. It certainly hasn't been green for nearly all of the day. It's been orange, and it refused to unlock despite turning off the power and resetting it with the reset button here. So it's all good at the moment. We know it's not going to last. We know that it's going to go again, and the periods of time when it's locking out are becoming longer and longer. So we've been really cold today. So the way that we've been turning the power off is just this switch here. I'm not going to do it because then if we switch it off, it probably won't come back on again until tomorrow, and we'll freeze overnight. But that switch controls the power to this programmer, which controls the power to the boiler. And so we thought it was a good idea actually a week or so ago to have the boiler serviced. So the boiler technician came in, did the service, gave the boiler a clean bill of health because the fault wasn't there. We did explain to him what the fault was, and he thought it could well be the pump. So we'll just go and show you what the pump looks like, for those of you who don't know what it looks like. Because really I don't think it is the pump that's causing this problem. So we'll stop the video in a minute and we'll take you up to where the pump is. Okay, so this is the central heating pump, and this is what the boiler technician thought could well be the problem. If the boiler pump isn't working, then the sensors in the boiler apparently stop the boiler from actually igniting. So what he's told me to do if the fault came on was to remove this little screw here and see whether or not the actual propeller shaft was rotating. Well, when I removed this screw, all the water poured out. It started to flood the airing cupboard here, so I stopped that and I thought must be another way of testing this pump. So what I did, I actually hardwired mains into the mains connection here. So I disconnected the mains that comes from the boiler, and I connected mains on the positive and negative to run the pump. Now I'm not going to show you how I did that, because if you're not competent with electricity, then you could well electrocute yourself, and you've really got to be very careful about isolating any mains electrical equipment before you work on it. So I'm not going to show you or tell you how I did it, but I did connect this to the mains and the pump did function. So therefore the pump was not the problem. Furthermore, I had the pump running for about 3 or 4 minutes. So if there were any sensors in the boiler which wanted to see a flow of water, then they would have ignited the boiler, but they didn't. So I concluded that actually it wasn't the pump in this case. Okay, so we're back down in the kitchen again, and basically just to tell you what I decided to do with fault finding, because obviously if the boiler technician gets called out he's going to charge us probably £70 each time, and if the fault's not on, then unfortunately you know, he won't be able to fix it. And sooner or later he's going to have to start changing parts of the boiler. So to preempt that, what we decided to do really was to actually start to look at what the most likely cause of the problem is. And I believe the most likely cause is the circuit board, which is inside here. Now later on in the video I'll show you the circuit board and the actual module, which very easily can be disconnected from inside this boiler. I think that that's probably going to be the likely cause of the problem. The problem is, if the boiler technician came out, he'd have to buy a new one, and they're about £280. And this is an old boiler. It's been in since about 1995. Just not worth spending that sort of money on it. So we bought a second-hand but warranted repaired circuit board from eBay, would you believe? And it should have been here today or tomorrow, and so I shall go through fitting of that, and I'll show you two other possible culprits that could cause the problem. So let's hope we receive it tomorrow, and I'll continue the video and we'll see just how easy it is to change the actual control board and a couple of other items that could cause the problem, and hope that this time tomorrow will be toasty warm. Catch you again later. Well, that's it out of the box. Does look like a direct replacement for the one that's in the boiler at the moment. So let's just have a look at the boiler and see what it's doing at the moment. Alexa, turn thermostat to 26.
Thermostat is set to 26.
So it's trying to fire up. It did fail at 3 o'clock this morning and took about 3 hours to boot back up again, but looks to me as though the fault's on. I would have expected it to fire up by now, so we'll start to take it to pieces and replace the circuit board, see what happens. So that's the cover off of the control board housing. There was just one screw that I had to take out, and the screw was there, and I've just slid the actual cover off, and it's going to be one screw here just to drop that down so we can get to the control board. So now you can see that the panel has slid forward, and we can see the housing for the circuit board, and there's one wire we need to take off at the back here, and then we should be able to slide the whole of this up, take off the connectors, and then just change the whole of the package there. So I've removed the wire at the back, which will stop the module coming out. That was quite tough actually. I had to use some pliers to pull it off of the connector back here, but I forgot to say that we need to remove this knob, take the locking nut off as well, so we can slide it out. So I'm just going to do that now. So now you can see that the modules slid out of the housing, and all I've got to do is to remove these cables and direct replacement with the one that I've received via eBay. While we're at it, you can just about see at the back, right at the back there, is I think an air pressure valve, which apparently can give you problems. That's low down on my list at the moment, but it's another suspect after the flame electrode, if this module doesn't actually fix the problem. So it remains to be seen whether we need to look at that later on in the video. That's the replacement control board in place. it was easier in the end when I slid it back into the housing to take off all the connectors and connect with the game one by one as I slid the actual control board into the housing, because it's quite tight to get the wires there, as well as sliding on the housing rails to fit it in. So there's just one more thing to do apart from put the control knob back on, and that is make sure we reconnect this cable, which is so tight you have to take it off every time and put it on last. So we'll do that, and then we just put on the knob here, and then we can boot it up and see what happens. So as you can see, I put the control board in, replaced all the wiring and screwed up the housing for it so that it's all secure. I'm not going to put the side cover on just yet. So the theory is that this repaired pre-used control board that I've been sent has been repaired actually and pre-tested before they sent it to me. So the theory is that if I boot up the boiler now and it doesn't work, then it's not the control board that's the problem. So that remains to be seen, but next step then is to boot it up and see what happens. As we boot it up, immediately it comes on orange flashing and green, which is an excellent sign. It's not something which I've seen automatically come on since the fault, and the boiler's come on. So it does look as though we've actually repaired the boiler. We'll see how it runs this afternoon, and I'll do a postscript tonight to say whether it's still working. But so far, it does look good. And for £35, when we return the old board here, that's a pretty good deal. Catch you later. So it's now been about 4.5 hours since I changed the circuit board in the boiler. It's been working absolutely perfectly. Just thought I'd show you what the steady state status of the lights are, because I wasn't too sure. So we'll zoom in, and this is how it would normally look if the hot water and the central heating were both at the optimally set temperature. So if I now increase the temperature, then we will see it kick in if the fault's completely gone away. Alexa, set thermostat to 24.
Thermostat is set to 24.
So if you notice, the orange indicator light will flash, and then the green will come on, and then the green will stay on once it's ignited properly. You can hear the boiler start up. And then if you look through this little window, you'll see the blue flame. So that's exactly what wasn't happening for the last 2 weeks when the intermittent fault came on. So I'm pleased to say we're now toasty warm, and the replaced circuit board has a year's warranty apparently. So as long as the company I bought it from is still in business in a year's time, then we've got a year. And knowing what I know about electronics, if it lasts a year, it should last many more years after that. But of course it depends on the quality of the components they've used and the quality of the repair work they've done. Anyway, it's proven that this particular problem was due to the circuit board. We had a very low cost repair job, half the price of calling someone out before he does anything. So it's very successful. And so if you have a similar problem with your boiler, I wish you luck. I hope it's as easy to fix as this one was. Thank you, and bye for now.